Good evening and welcome to November 21st, 2022, Common Council of City Connersville. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Robb.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for prayer, Pastor Brad.
Good evening. Lord, we ask that you are with us tonight. God, there are decisions to be made, there are things to be done, and Lord, we ask for a spirit of unity. God, we ask for decisions that would be the best for the good of the all, for the good of Connersville. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve and ask that you would preside over this meeting this evening. In your precious name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone. Remind you to please turn your cell phone ringers off. We will begin with roll call.
Councilman Warner.
Here.
Councilman Barrett. Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
Councilman Robb.
Present.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Everyone has the minutes from the November 7th, 2022 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We will move down to new business. I'm going to switch up the order. We have Jimmy Shanahan from Taft Law here, so we're going to discuss the declaratory resolution for the TIF district first, and then we'll move to public hearing for the utility rate. So, Mr. Shanahan, you want to go ahead and start with your presentation, sir?
Sure. Thanks for your time. Good evening, everyone. Tonight for your consideration is a resolution which confirms an order of the Plan Commission approving a declaratory resolution of the Redevelopment Commission. So it's a lot of words, but what essentially is being proposed is a new TIF area for the city. And I'll leave it to the mayor to talk about where in the city and what some of the plans are for the redevelopment. But the Redevelopment Commission has met previously and adopted a declaratory resolution, which is the first phase of establishing a TIF district. And in that resolution, there's a number of statutory findings and also a map and a parcel list of what's intended to be included. Earlier this evening, the next step was taken. The Plan Commission approved the form of declaratory and the plan for the area. And then tonight you have a resolution which confirms the Plan Commission's findings. And then should you move forward tonight, the final step is a public hearing at the Redevelopment Commission level, at which time the Redevelopment Commission would consider a confirmatory resolution that would finalize all the details and formally establish the area.
Jimmy, can you explain in layman's term tax increment financing? Because it's a very difficult thing to understand, even though it seems simple, but it's very complex.
Sure. So the proposal would be to where the tool is useful, or how it works. All the parcels that are currently in that proposed area have an assessed value as of January 1, 2022. If this area is established, then going forward, the base level for that area will be frozen at that 2022 level, meaning that over time, any increment that's generated would be available for the Redevelopment Commission to use to redevelop or develop or construct renovations, improvements that are in or serving that area. So the I in TIF is increment, and that's generated from the frozen AV and then the change in AV over time. So the increase in AV would allow those extra dollars to be sent to the Redevelopment Commission for their use from the allocation area fund.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Shanahan before we dive into any more discussion? We had at the APC meeting, we had a very, I wouldn't say it's lengthy, but it was lengthy discussion, just understanding TIF on how it impacts the county, the city, and the residents. So a residential TIF, there's not going to be anything. It's not going to impact the taxpayer one bit. It's going to be on where those tax dollars are collected and how they're utilized for redevelopment growth. In the state of Indiana, State legislator has really, it made it very difficult for local communities to grow and to capture revenue to grow. We personally have had a flat budget for the last 3 years, and everything around us is growing, so it's hard to invest in ourselves to attract companies here, to attract people here, if we can take dollars to invest in that. And I made a statement to the APC. The point of a TIF is to grow our population. We've been on a population decline since the 1980s. And if we don't change that trajectory, our general fund is going to keep going down, 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 down. Same thing with the county. It's going to go down, down, down. So we have to change that trajectory. We have to be able to invest in infrastructure to attract companies here. Not just to attract companies here, we want to attract people here. We make more money per square foot AV on residential homes than we do businesses. Businesses pay a large share of their property tax and everything, but if you look at the square footage and what it takes for business, you make more on residential. So we want to attract companies here, to attract people here, because we want them to live here and work here. We don't want them to work here and live in Wayne County. They live in Wayne County, we don't capture anything from it. Then all those dollars go to Wayne County. So a lot of questions are, what do you use TIF for? There's all kind of uses. When I came in office, the first year in office, TIF had been brought up. I realized that there were 86 counties who had TIF out of 92. That's a large number. What does this mean? What's it going on? I spent time just researching what TIF is, how it impacts everyone. I traveled to different cities that utilize TIF to grow their city. Columbus is a big example. And Columbus has done a lot of major improvements, and they've done every bit of it through TIF dollars. Everyone knows Carmel. Carmel's growth has been 100%, not 100%, but has used TIF dollars to really grow Carmel. And every other county around. So there's, let's see, there's 1,090 TIFs, 263 are county, 827 are city TIFs, with a gross assessed value of $70 billion and incremental AV of $33 billion. That's how they're using money to invest in their communities. They're doing it through TIF. So that's why we were trying to find ways to, how do we grow? How do we capture dollars so we can grow? And TIF was the way to do it. It doesn't impact the homeowner one bit. It just impacts where those dollars go. So we capture that assessed value, the difference on that assessed value. The only TIF we have currently in Fayette County was out of RE. That was used as a attraction agent to get them in there. But instead of the city benefiting from those dollars, it went 100% back to the bondholder, which was the owners. So they would pay their tax, they would get it right back through the TIF, and it was an incentive to get them here. There's tax abatements. That is another tool we have, but you also have to be careful with that, because if you attract someone with a tax abatement and they need resources that we can't provide, we're capturing not any money to help provide those resources. So it's a fine balance, but TIF is really the only tool we have to do that. It's a very complicated process to understand. I paused this. We reached out a couple of years ago. I paused this for the last 12 months because state legislator was looking to do a TIF overlay. And if you didn't have a TIF, they did their overlay, then it all goes to state and not us. And I was very concerned with that. Even if you do have a TIF, they are unable to do an overlay on top of your TIF, which was even more concerning. So we're members of AIM, and we were working with state legislator and all the mayors and even commissions. We're trying to get a good resolve to that. We think we have one, and that's why I'm comfortable moving forward with outlining our TIF district so we can capture those dollars. You might say, well, what would you use those dollars for? I'll give you an illustration. I'm not going to say this is what we're going to do, but it's just an illustration. I've been working with the state for, well, NDOT too, really from day one about Western Avenue. It's, to me, I drove a truck my entire life. That was the best route to go. I hated our truck route with a passion. I also didn't want to remove the state route from State Road 1 because you have businesses locate there because it's on a state route. And the state didn't want to acquire any more property, so they said if we did anything, they didn't want to take Western Avenue. They wanted to leave it where it was. I said, I still got to get the trucks off. They said, fine, we'll give you some signs and work on the signals and lights, and you have to maintain it to our standards. What does that mean? So when we go to replace anything, we have to replace it to NDOT standards. Well, we've got some numbers finally, and we did some core samples to see what we have on the road, and it's just not good. It's a $10 million fix. That's what we think. I thought it was going to be like 3 or 4, but it's closer between 8 and 10. Is that the number we got, Brad? So we actually, on this evening's minutes, you're going to see we're asking for an approval for a grant. The Board of Works approved it. It is applying for a federal grant to do just that. It's a 20% match, so you can do the quick math on $10 million. We'd have to have $2 million. We've had a flat budget for 3 years. We can't justify a $2 million spend. How do you do that? TIF dollars can help pay for that. So those are certain ways. Those are projects. That's just an example of a project we do. If we decide to go that area and we have enough TIF revenue to do that, those are projects we can do with those TIF dollars. So that's kind of why we're looking to do this. It also can be used to enhance and make additions to industrial parks to get more job-ready locations. We included the TIF district in the downtown because everyone looks at Brookville and says, well, they got those major investments in their downtown. That's in their opportunity zone. Our opportunity zone does not come downtown, so it's going to be hard attracting investors to our downtown. Obviously, you can see it hasn't been changed, so we can utilize TIF dollars to invest in our downtown. So there's a lot we can do with it. It's a very effective tool. It's about the only tool we have left, and that's why I was concerned with the overlay. So that's what I call a 60,000 foot view. It's a very quick view, but I mean, if you have any questions for me, and Jimmy's the expert behind it, you can ask. But we had a unanimous APC recommendation, which I thought was good because you have both city and county representation there, commissioners and council, along with the school board. I did forget one thing since I said school board. What we did with the Redevelopment Commission early on was we knew that the state was looking to do something with TIF, and there was a lot of misconception about the schools and how a lot of people think it hurt them, and it really doesn't. So we early on had school representation on the Redevelopment Commission. I asked the Redevelopment Commission to make them a voting member, so they have a say in what we do and how it impacts the schools. And so the schools understand it. We had a unanimous vote on the Redevelopment Commission as well to approve this. So again, that's the 60,000 foot view. Does anyone have any questions for me? Okay. Jimmy, you have anything else you need to add?
No, I don't think so. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions? No? If not, I'll flip this over. I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2022-722, which is approving a declaratory resolution, and then the Redevelopment Commission will have to do a public hearing at their next meeting. Is that correct, Jimmy? The next meeting, the Redevelopment Commission holds a public hearing?
Yeah, it's your December meeting.
Yes. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Williams Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips,
Yes.
Councilman Robb,
Yes.
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilman Warner.
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, 6-0. We will get that sent at the next meeting, Jimmy. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Sounds good. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday, everyone.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to switch out. There was a Zoom, it was kind of difficult for him to set their Zoom and not know what's going on, so. Next, we'll move down to the public hearing, approval of pending ordinance 3848, the second reading utility rate adjustment. We will open the public hearing now for anyone to speak. If you do speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address, please.
My name's Boyd Huff, and I live at 1895 East Woodside Village Drive. And I'm here tonight to ask for an explanation on rate differential between in-city and out-of-city rates. We're currently in Woodside Village, which is where I'm located, paying a 25% surcharge for water and a 10% surcharge for sewage. And I've been working with Brad Coulter for the last few days, who has been very helpful and good to work with in terms of trying to provide the explanation. But as of the meeting this evening, I don't have the explanation that I need to try and understand why that rate differential. If you calculate what we're paying for 350 cubic feet compared to city rates, that rate differential is 73%, if I'm calculating that right. And to me, that's excessive. That's excessive. And without seeing the numbers behind it. Now, Brad provided me this evening an email with further explanation, which I've not had an opportunity to look at in depth, but it looks like for the cost for the utilities, that was dealt with in 2002, is what it looks like. We probably, as a neighborhood, should have been here prior to now, because what we're paying is not only the 25 and the 10% surcharge, but we're also paying for fire protection for a fire hydrant of $13 per month. So when you calculate that based upon what information I have compared to the in-city rates, that's a 73% difference. And to me, that's excessive. Now, Brad provided me with some information here this evening that provides further explanation, but what I'm looking for is justification. You know, in the cost of service study, which it looks like that there was a cost of service study used for the surcharge rate, but then there's a lot of explanation in here as to how these costs get spread over the total rate base. And I haven't been able to digest that yet to understand what that is, but it just seems like an excessive difference between what we pay versus the city. Also, when that subdivision was developed, it's my understanding that those utilities were turned over to the city. So the city didn't pay for the initial installation of those facilities that exist in servicing us. That was paid for by the developer. And I understand there's maintenance costs associated with maintaining those facilities over the years, but, you know, the question is show me the numbers behind the surcharge and show me the reason why the differential exists. And that's what I'm here to ask for this evening. You know, I know in the information I received this evening, it says no cost of service study was performed. To me, that seems a bit unusual. My background is in the utility industry. There's always a cost of service study provided for justification as to why you pay what you pay. So, you know, there's a lot of legal language in here and so forth. So I'm just asking for more information and an explanation as to why this differential exists. And I haven't calculated the increase, but it looks to me like in the city, and you tell me whether I'm right or wrong, it looks like in the city that those rates are going to increase about 8% a year. And that'll be on a compounded basis because it's over a 3-year period. So the first year is going to be 8%, and then the next year is going to be 8% of the 8%. So, you know, it's a compounded rate over those 3 years. And we don't mind paying our fair share. But it just seems like there's a differential there that deserves explanation, and that's what we're asking for.
Brad, you want to come up, sir?
You want to let others talk and then I'll answer?
Well,
questions, or-
let's do this one first because this is outside of the, I guess it's still part of the rate, but it's completely different.
We've been, I know Boyd pretty well, we've been working together here since about Thursday last week to try to dig up all this information, and I've been trying to comb through it with everything else going on today, we got the brunt of it about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So my best understanding of what happened is in 1994, the surcharge started. It was at 10%. In 2002, it was increased. After Connersville invested a lot of funds in 1998 to expand out to Gorton Estates and Shelton Platte and other areas. And that was when the surcharge study was done, and it became 25%, somewhere around 2002, general terms. Then in 2010, the law changed, and the IURC required communities to justify those surcharges, and Connersville did that and applied, and the IURC approved it. And they do not require now, in our rate study, there is a cost of service for the entire district, but not specific to just outside customers or inside or certain areas or whatever. Basically, the rate study is a cost of service study. But we weren't required to do a cost of service study to substantiate the 25% since 2012, and we did not do that. Maybe we would have, if I would have known there were going to be these kind of questions a little sooner, then maybe we would have focused on it a little bit, but we didn't. So that's where we are. And did I answer all their questions?
And I think it's important for us to know, just to kind of clarify some of this, we're not changing his percentage. That percentage is already set. His rates will go up just like everybody else's, but we're not, that differential rate, we're not changing that. That's been in place for, did you say 02? So 20 years. And like Brad said, and the gentleman spoke very eloquently and established, there's not some way, there's not some mechanism for us to charge some out-of-city rate users differently than other out-of-city rate users based on the cost to us, right? It's the cost on all of them, okay? So while we might have received some of that equipment or some of that infrastructure, we've got a water tower, there's other things that we're having to take care of that are on the outside of our city limits that all get incorporated into that. I don't know if I clarified it more or made it worse.
Now, just to explain cost of service to a certain area, so he is correct that Mason McGraw installed those facilities, but we did build a 1 million gallon storage tank out there that, if I remember right, cost about $1.2 million. So there was a major investment to that area, and that part of the system's kind of weird. It really only serves that area. It was built to grow and expand out, I think, towards Alquina, but that stuff never happened. So it's sort of a problematic area because it serves a small amount of people, and the water used out of the tank is, it's kind of hard to manage. So we've spent probably by the middle of next year, we'll have spent $125,000 this last 2 years to improve the situation out there. So we do invest in that part of the system, and although their questions remain and there's no way to exactly prove the numbers, I do feel comfortable that we are investing in their part of the system and that it is a fair system and a fair way that we charge people. The justification, I think, to other areas is we carried a lot of debt for a long time to expand. I can't remember, I don't know if anybody else was here or remembers what the cost of the 1998 expansion was, but I know it was in the millions of dollars to take those water lines out to those outlying areas. And I think the justification in 2002 was the debt service. That was and something that Andre provided for us was that we could have had a surcharge approved of 44%, and 25 is what they settled on.
Which IURC approved.
Yes. And, I apologize that it's hard to put all this information together so quickly. but the surcharge is sort of a side issue to this rate increase.
Yeah.
And I have told Boyd that we will look into it further and try to provide more answers and information as we go forward, but we're just kind of running out of time.
Answer anything? I know you didn't give the answer you wanted, but was something we're going to look into?
I would just say this, and I understand what Brad's saying, and looking at the letter, you know, like I say, I haven't been able to look at it in detail, but when you look at those numbers, you know, and you look at the depreciation rates over that period of time, I'm sure that we're going to be paying for facilities that are going to be updated within the city, you know. And so when you start rolling those kinds of things together, why should there even be the rate differential that there is? Or if you look at your cost of service study, then, you know, why aren't we on our own rate tariff? You know, if you put in a $1.2 million facility, then okay, show us the numbers. Show us the numbers. And the mayor mentioned here just a moment ago that you're looking at residential, trying to attract residential. And where does residential come from? It generally comes from developments outside the city. And when you start looking at these kinds of costs, it will make a difference. You know, some of the people that I've talked to in our community, like the whole city of Connersville, there's a lot of people here on fixed incomes. And we understand that. So, you know, people are saying, look, you know, my water bill's starting to exceed my electric bill. You know, when's it going to stop? When's it going to stop? So I can sympathize with that. I can sympathize with that. But if, you know, if we're looking at it being one utility, then let's look at it on an equitable basis. And I don't see that right now. What I see is the area that we live in is paying a surcharge that the city's not getting billed for, and fire protection that I don't know how it's calculated in the city, whether it's through your tax levy or what it's through, but it's there somewhere, I'm sure. But that's a significant difference. I mean, if I calculate it on 350 cubic feet of usage and there's a 73% difference, you know, that rings kind of loud to me. And I'd say that if I went on and did further calculations, which is why I'm asking for the numbers, what does that number go to? What does that number go to? I mean, there's going to be big disparity. So, you know, as a citizen of Fayette County and a customer of Connersville Utilities, I think we deserve an explanation. And I guess what I would propose tonight is, I understand the need to pass your ordinance. On the other hand, you got a group of people out here that are paying a rate that they need explanation for. So delay that until they're satisfied with the explanation that's provided. And that would be my proposal. But you're the council. I don't make that decision.
Can I add something?
Yes, sir. You may. State your name and address, please.
Previous administration, I talked to Mayor Gordon. We moved back, been going 40-some years, we moved back to Fayette County.
What's your name, sir?
Robert Rasner.
Address,
Bobby.
Oh,
That's fine.
1943 Pine Cone
Didn't want
Court.
to interrupt you, but thank you.
Yeah, and
1934
anyway,
what? Pine Cone Court.
I asked Harold about me, and he said, well, Bob, he says, we spent $1 million out there on that tank. Well, I think they had federal grants and different things, and I said, surely it's been paid for by now. So are we still paying on that $1 million tank? Is that what the problem is? But anyway, And when I first moved here, we closed our home, nice home. We're down at the title office. I had a piece of paper and I had to get it notarized. So we stopped by the bank, got it notarized. We had our closing. They looked at us and said, "Do you know what you just signed?" I said, "No." I said, "I thought it was something to do with the fire hydrants or something." "No, it had something to do with your water. They're not going to turn your water on until you, not unless you had this notarized for the city to annex your property. In other words, you won't go against the city if they annex your property." It's kind of like, I felt like I'd been blackmailed by previous administration.
When was that?
That was in 2015. And I went down to city utilities and walked in. Everybody scattered and left some little girl trying to explain to me. And she said, "I don't know." I said, "Here I am back in Connersville." And I said, "What did I move back here for?" But I think with stuff like that, that makes people not want to move back or move here. And you take a big company might come here, well, we're going to have to give them a special rate or they ain't going to stay, just like our tax abatements and stuff. But I appreciate you. Give me more time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I know you're wanting it.
I wanted that.
Come on up. He always gives me a hard time, and I enjoy it.
My name is Lester Schaefer. I live at 561 Vine Street, Connersville. As I understand it, and I may be misunderstanding, going to be 8% rate hike next year, correct?
Correct.
Going to be 8% more the year after, so that makes it 16%.
Right.
And 8% more after that makes it 24%.
Correct.
Really? Is the water corporation running in black?
In the black? Yes, technically.
Okay. What is that number? How
So,
much?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
You have a vehicle, right? You drive here.
yes.
Do you change your oil? Do you maintain it? Do you service
Sure.
the vehicle? What happens if you don't maintain and service
Well,
our
you have
water
problems.
systems? And we have water mains that are 150 years old, 150.
Understand
And
that.
because no one wanted to do the right thing on maintaining it, how do we explain to people if we don't raise rates so we can replace those, how do we replace your water main when it breaks? That's 150 years old. How do I tell a corporation who's trying to move here when they ask, "Can you provide water?" Yes, we can. How old's your system? 150 years old. What's your maintenance plan to replace that? We don't have one. They're not coming here. What do you tell them?
So you're gonna put it on all the people, the retirees here in town, because that's what you have a majority of is retirees.
But what do I tell them when they don't have water? And we can't afford to replace it? What do I do then?
It's bad.
That's right, it's bad. So
Well,
unfortunately.
what are you gonna tell them when they can't pay their water bill? Their
every-
water bill goes up 24%, their income goes up 6%.
I'm in the same boat. I pay the same bill. And
You're not in the same boat. You are working out here at today's wages. You're not like me, I'm fixed. Mine is there.
I understand that.
And a lot of these other people, their wages are there. That's it. They're not gainfully employed. They fired me a long time ago.
So what would you suggest?
I'd suggest to look at something a little different than 24%.
And we had an expert analysis from Baker Tilly do that.
How much are we ahead right now? How much are we in the black?
Brad, you want to come on up, sir?
Well, I'm on the hot seat tonight.
You're the department head for a reason.
So, in water, I've got my speech ready here in a little bit, but I'll just bust out part of it. Water is a separate company. Water is in the worst shape of all the companies that the utilities is. I'll just throw it out there. I mean, it's not a big secret. We have a O&M balance of about 300,000. That's several $100,000 less than we usually have. The trajectory of our O&M balance has been like this for the last couple of years. And we had no rate increase this past year at all. And we've got to infuse it with some money. That is just taking care of the inflationary part of the bill. That's just doing the things we normally do on a daily basis. To invest in fixing up this old stuff, that is a big portion of this rate increase. That's what That's what a bunch of that is going to.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that was a $30 million estimate?
Oh, the oldest part of the system is going to cost about $30 million to replace, the 150-year-old stuff. So we could probably spend $75 million, but we probably won't be able to afford to do that. But we need to start somewhere, and that oldest part, the 150-year-old system, is probably where we start. So
I was talking to Milton, their water department, and they applied for a grant, and they're gonna get it, to replace water lines in the town. Is there anything available for us?
yeah, I think so. I think a portion of those millions of dollars will be, help funding. The federal government probably has more money out there for that stuff right now than anything. But they want you to focus their money on regionalization and lead line replacement.
Correct.
So, you almost have to add stuff into the project just to get them to give you anything. So it's a super tricky thing that we're in, but we have to start to do
You also
this.
have to have the money to match that grant as well.
24%, guys. That scares the hell out
Well,
of me.
keep in mind now that your water bill only is.
I understand that.
If you're paying a minimum bill, you probably are at your house.
Yes,
Your water portion is $16 right now. So that 25% is about $4 over 3 years.
so you're telling me my bill's only gonna go up
On
$4
water.
next year?
It's not 25% of your whole water bill with all those things, it's just the water portion. So if you're paying 16 now, you're gonna be paying about 20 at the beginning of 2025. Now, in all honesty, the sewer had an increase, so that's gonna be another $2. So, it does, I'm not denying it, it adds up. So between water and sewer, you're talking about 6. We increased the trash fees. So, 3 years from now, you'll be paying an extra $10 from what you was at the beginning of this year. Telling the truth, being honest. I know,
I hope you're right, but I don't see that. And I don't think anybody here could see that.
on a minimum bill, it's $1.30 the first year, $1.40 the second year, and $1.50 the third. Just on the water, so.
If that happens, I'll be up there to tell you that's right,
Well, if
but
you get
I
the
don't see
minimum-
it's gonna happen.
That's a minimum bill, that's exactly what it is.
I know.
They had Baker Tilly run the analysis. Because we determined, we tried to do lesser rate, and that wasn't gonna cover the replacement of any of these pipes. It wasn't gonna cover it. So,
But the grant might do that. A grant might do
yeah,
that.
we received grants, so we've received 3 grants since 2015, Brad, correct me, Stewart, $2 million altogether. So yes, we go after grants. Now, the wastewater treatment plant, which was the reason for the last rate increase, is a $21 million project. We got no grants for that, but that's IDEM mandated. We had 30 years to do that. And so they didn't do it up front, they kind of kicked it down the road, and now we're stuck with it. Because if we don't do it, then we've got some serious consequences. But that's a $21 million project, we had to complete it.
Seems to me we're at the prey of the government.
Always are. Because we've got lead line replacements they're forcing us to do, that's coming up as well. There's still a lot of questions with that. So yeah, it can be very frustrating at the same time. On one hand, we have to find a solution to fix these pipes, because 150-year-old pipe, that's pretty worrisome.
We'll see if that happens. I don't see it being there. I'm a pessimist, I guess, when it comes to that.
Yeah, but you're a
'Cause I'm
good guy.
telling you, I've seen how it works. You tell me 24% is gonna amount to $1.75?
No, on a $16 bill, it would, over the 3 years, it would amount to right at $4. It's $1 something, $1 something,
Okay.
which comes out to right at 4 at the beginning of the third year.
We'll see if that happens.
We have no reason to tell you that it's gonna be this way. I mean, you're gonna come back, we're still gonna, hopefully. We're still gonna be here for the ones that wanna be. I mean, you know where we are. There's no advantage for us to like.
I just don't see that happening. I mean, I've been in other towns where they raised the rates like we're doing here, and I did not see that happening. That dollar amount has got me, really? Okay, that ain't bad. We'll see if that happens.
You can hold me to it.
I will.
I know you will.
Oh, another thing I want to talk to you about.
Did you give your name and address?
Yes, I did.
I didn't pay attention. Sorry.
You don't want to forget.
I don't want you to forget. They're talking about all this NDOT project deal, and I know this is off subject. Why don't we make it to where they originally had it, where they bring the trucks around Western Avenue, over that viaduct out there?
If you stick around, we get done with this, I'll explain that. I did that earlier, but you may not have been here when I did that.
I was here, but I didn't pay attention.
You didn't listen to me, did you? Shame on you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, if not, I will close the public hearing. Brad, you want to come up? You had some more you wanted to do.
I'll take a couple of minutes to answer some of the questions that I've got from different people over this last couple of weeks. First, why is my water bill so high? I started to talk about it. You have to think about it as 4 operations. You've got your water department, your wastewater, your stormwater, and your trash. And it's 4 different things that those different operations accomplish. Now I'm going to use my bill as an example. I pay a minimum bill, and for that bill, I get 2,600 gallons of water a month. Now, just to give you an idea, that's about 87, beg your pardon?
You can't shut that bill.
Has to be open.
Public meeting.
Open door.
That's about 87 bathtubs full that I get on that minimum bill. So on that bill, my water portion is $16. My wastewater sewer portion is $38. My stormwater portion is $7.15. That's what every resident pays. And my trash portion is now $14 starting in July. So that comes up to about 74 something altogether. Each one of those operations does something different. And I'm just going to take a minute to tell you about some of the things. This is not all inclusive, but for your $16 on water, we have employees at the water plant that man the water plant and keep the drinking water safe and keep it pumping out to the people. We have the employees that maintain the water mains, 100 miles of them. 100 miles. And a big portion of those are 100 years old. I can't tell you exactly, but it's probably half. We maintain the water plant. That's an expensive facility. A lot of chemicals, a lot of different mechanical things going on there. We have the big water tank, 2 million gallons. We have a 1 million gallon tank out that serve these people. We have the golf ball, all those to take care of. We have booster stations for water to take care of. All these things, all the buildings, the boosters, the computer equipment, the money we spend each year just on radio computer equipment to run those systems and to complete the telemetry. Big part of it is at Woodside. The system, all those tanks balance off each other, and they all have to talk to each other all the time. So there's a lot of expense there. The water department also makes a contribution to the payment in lieu of taxes we pay to the city. The sewer department. It's a bigger portion of the bill than anything else because it's more expensive to clean the water and put clean water in the river instead of what it used to be. We have a wastewater plant, very expensive to operate. All the employees that work there. Again, we have a sewer crew that maintains 70 miles of sewer mains. We have a vac truck, very expensive equipment. We also, part of your sewer portion of the bill is about $5 a month that is part of that 38 that you pay to pay the debt service on the cleanup at Vision. The utilities cleaned up that, and we pay for that debt, and that's about $5 of your bill. What, Rosemary, about $400,000, I think, or $4 million altogether, I think we spent on that cleanup, so. The stormwater department, primarily, those funds go to fund the $32 million in long-term control plan projects that I've talked about a gazillion times. 12% of stormwater funds go to pay utility overhead. And then, of course, the trash fees support your trash being picked up every single week of the year. So that water bill that people think is just to get water out of, it does a lot of things. The rate increase is it's about 25% altogether over 3 years. That's a lot. But if you think about it just on the water part of the bill, it's less. And these are good people. We understand, they get hit harder with all these than anybody. I get that. But our water system was first developed in 1869. There were about 13 blocks, probably about 80 blocks total, square blocks, that were in that first part of the system. Our first water plant cost $48,000. We have 4 eras of water system that a lot of you have heard me say a million times. The old, the new old, the old new, and the new new. The new part of the system was put in 1966. So the old is from 1870, and the rest is in between. We added a lot of outlying customers, probably about 1,500 of them in 1998. And there has been no plan in place at any time during the 153 years of existence of the utilities to start to replace this old stuff. And I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because each generation of utilities had a different job. We had the 1870 people invested about $150,000 to build that original system. And you can imagine what that was on the 3,500 people that lived in town, and the median income was $50 a month. So that was quite a burden on them, but they said yes. And in 1910, you've heard me tell the story before, Finley Gray wanted a new water plant. All those 40 years that we had existed, people had drank canal water. And a lot of people died from drinking it, including 2 mayors. 1/3 of our first 6 mayors died. How you like them chances?
You should tell me that before I rant, no.
From drinking the water.
Wow. You trying to get rid of me?
So in 1910, Finley Gray wanted to build a new water plant and put in water wells, and the council didn't want to do it. So he took them all over to 11th Street, and they stood over the top of the canal while they were looking at the filthy water. 3 dead, bloated up hogs floated down under the bridge. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But he got his new water plant. That generation said yes.
So that's the old new?
That's the old new, yeah. So if you can keep notes, keeping up with me, you're doing good tonight. 1955, we built a wastewater plant. Until 1955, there was all the sewage went into the river, every bit of it, the factories and all of it. And they spent about $20-something million, and it took them 40 years to pay for it. But they said yes, and they did it. And then in '66, maybe the most important part, they built all the new transmission mains and built a new water plant. I guarantee you that Ford would have never built that new plant on the north end of town if this hadn't happened. Connersville's pressure was not that great, and this investment probably fueled all those jobs from 1965 for 30, 40 years that existed. They said yes. Ralph Nuquist administration built that. And then, like I said, in '98, they spent another millions of dollars to expand. Our generation's job is to do this. It's to fix the old stuff up. Because like you said, we can't look these companies straight in the eye and say, we can provide you millions of gallons of water if we don't maintain this old stuff and fix it. So I hope that you can all support this rate increase, and I don't think we should delay it. I think we should get this part of it done. I'm perfectly willing to invest more time to get these guys answers and talk about that.
Absolutely.
Any questions? Sure.
Okay.
My name's
We closed the public hearing, but
Yeah.
I'll be nice.
My name is Tim McDonough. I live at 1306 South Cherokee Lane. My question is, I'm getting this 25% increase, and I pay for water. My sewage comes from Everton. My trash comes from Rumpke. So why is it I'm getting a 25% increase? All I get is water from the city, although it gets treated through Everton. So is Everton going to charge me or extra?
No.
How's that going to work?
No, your sewer is from Everton.
Right.
but Just your water comes from us.
Okay, so I'm going to get the 25% on water, not the sewage, not the trash?
Right. None of those other things, just on your water bill.
Okay, now, so you're going to pass that on to Everton? So,
We don't have any dealings with Everton on water.
okay. That's all I want to know.
Just sewer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sewer. Okay, any other questions from council?
The comment that I have is there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 75% of the population of this community that is on a single-family income. Most of the people I see in here are on fixed income. Single-family income consists of roughly $38,000 a year. And this is some of them with children and some of them without. So I don't see how we can put this kind of a burden on our public. I think we need to do some other research and reduce our expenses in other areas instead of increasing all the time.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
So where would you start? What part of those jobs that I listed that we do you think we should stop doing?
I didn't say we should stop doing stuff. I'm saying that we should reduce our expenses. I mean, if you want to get into this, the other day I seen one of our utility trucks going around up in Wayne County with another person in the truck. Now, I don't think he was working. I seen one going out to Everton, Navy's store out there the other day in one of the utility trucks. So we're spending money on hauling these people around when they're not technically working, apparently. Because I don't think we have any water supplies in Wayne County.
So where in Wayne County? Where was it? Where'd you see them?
Well, I'm not gonna get into that because I'm
Well,
not
it
gonna
matters.
pinpoint people's, that.
We have some employees that are on service watch that live in Wayne County, so it may have been somebody driving home.
Well, I don't think
But
that's.
they're allowed to drive the vehicles wherever they want while they're on service watch so that they can respond quickly to a call.
I understand that.
Just like any other, like Duke, they all do
The mayor
that.
has passed that ordinance and
Yeah.
there's a lot of other things that goes on with that, but they're not doing that. That's not complying.
What, you lost me. What?
They're obviously not complying if they have other people in the truck with them.
We don't limit them from, if they bring their wife to the store and they go to the store, it's not a rule. I mean,
They weren't.
we let them use the vehicle as they like, within reason. I mean, of course, they don't go places they're not supposed to be in it. But
Well, like I say, there's other areas that need to be cut. I don't agree with increasing the prices, especially this much. I think there's other ways going around it. I mean, when you talk, a city of Carmel has their water is less than our water. And
How much is it?
I know they make more,
How much is their water
$3. Ours is $4.62
per,
per
what?
units, yeah. So, and I know their income's far exceeding $38,000 a year.
They got a lot more industrial customers. The biggest problem that we have here locally is it's all on the residents. We don't have any big users. Our big users like the school, and we got to get some development in here to have big users. Hopefully that is happening. But
I mean, I agree with you,
If
that
we
it's
can-
all on the residents.
It is.
It's all on fixed income residents.
yeah,
And we need to find another way.
I don't like this. I don't like this one bit, but I have one job, and that's to make sure when you go turn your spigot on that something comes out of it. And I know it's gonna, I know that these increased bills hurt people. We all understand that. But it's gonna hurt them pretty bad if they don't have water come out.
Brad, also, you know, if we didn't keep this within the city, doing like we've done it before as far as this project is, and we went price, I mean, we put it out to bid and do it, what do you think as far as what the cost is gonna be compared to what we're trying to do right now?
A lot.
Yeah, it is, that's what it is.
A lot more.
This thing's been kicked down the road so many times and
controls.
stuff. As Chad's mentioned before, we've mentioned in other meetings and stuff, I'm on a fixed income.
I'm on a fixed income.
So am I.
And you know, sometimes you gotta bite the bullet to get us moving in the right direction and stuff, because we can't keep kicking it down the road. And that's where we're at, unfortunately. And unfortunately, we're stuck in that group as far as that part goes. But if we turn this over to another thing, you think your rates are going up right now? You're kidding yourselves what they're gonna go up as far as if you turned it over to somebody else. So, I mean, I think that's something to consider as far as what we're trying to do, keep it maintained and try and keep it at a level where we're at.
That's a whole different issue.
Well, it is, but it's a... but it's-
Whole different issue.
Yeah, but it's true. It's true, though. You turned it over to somebody that might come in right off the bat and be like anything, do it, you know, low bid it or whatever, but you kid yourself, you think that's where it's gonna stay, so.
Lose control also.
Anyway, just food for thought as far as,
Yeah, I would just hate to turn my pipe on and I get no water and stuff. Then I gotta call someone up to come and fix my pipes and stuff. And that's gonna cost the individual, me, I don't know, thousands of dollars. So, me paying, you know, $4 extra, I don't know. I think I can live with that, you know, with my fixed income.
If that's what it's gonna be.
Well, I think it is gonna be that.
We'll see.
yeah, if it's not, I'll be the first one in line with you to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You won't be by
Yeah,
yourself.
you're not gonna be
Yeah.
by yourself.
Hey,
We get
you
the
know,
same, we get the same water bill and we're gonna be paying the same
So,
amount.
I personally think that we should reduce the percentages. If you're gonna increase, I think we should reduce the percentages.
Well, the rate consultant we sort of did things a little different this time. We gave him a number of what we project we need to do in projects. And he built our rates to begin to get to that. I mean, if we do the things we need to do, there will be more increases on the water side. I mean, you saw the presentation that I gave to you. There will be more. If we do a $30 million project, there will be more increases. I'm just not gonna stand here and lie about it. But this is the first bite out of the apple, and that'll be for you guys or another council to decide later on how far we go to replace this stuff. But this will get us started.
Any other comments from council? If not, I will ask for the approval of pending ordinance 3848 on the second reading utility rate adjustment. I have a motion, sorry, I didn't say that.
So moved.
motion,
I have a motion, a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Phillips?
Yes.
Councilman Robb?
yes.
Councilman Gray?
No.
Councilman Collins?
No.
Councilman Warner?
No,
Councilman Williams Jr.?
yes.
Tie, 3-3.
I vote yes.
Passes on second reading, 3-4.
Okay. And we were going to continue that conversation, sir. I'm not going to let that die. We will continue. I had great comfort on the IURC passed it. You and I both know that board, but we will continue looking into that and see what that is about. 'Cause
We didn't
I
have
agree with
information
that.
because
Yeah, we just found out about it Thursday evening as well, so.
it's not equitable the way that we're getting treated compared to in-city customers.
But we will continue that conversation.
Okay.
I guarantee you that one.
Needs to be addressed, so.
Okay. Move on down to item C, approval pending ordinance 3853, home-based occupations amendment bill.
I hope this goes more quickly.
You still up, Bill? Are you still up?
Still up?
Yeah. I thought you'd be asleep over there.
Oh, no. No, actually, I found it all quite interesting.
Okay.
I may not have looked it, but I found it interesting. But with the home-based businesses, is I think a lot of people here on the City Council and others is that been trying to work on this for years with the Area Plan Commission. And what made the difference is we have the Area Plan Commission where really wants to be aggressive about doing their job, which is trying to take care of some of the recognized problems in the zoning code. So what this does is it's replacing a home-based business regulation where the rules were based in is Depression-era language. For example, it says typical home-based occupation was millinery. Yeah. Who does millinery, much less knows what millinery is anymore. And so the economy's changed quite a bit since then. Hats. Especially hats with feathers. Yes. So the economy's changed dramatically, and one of the things we really saw, particularly with the COVID, was people shifting a lot of things, doing a lot of things at home. So the basic gist of this is that, okay, it's because you want to have a system where minimal to hopefully no impact on the residential uses in the area. So for example, there's a first tier, which is, okay, if you can't tell somebody's there, it's whether it's a home office, someone's doing an internet business, they're doing online consultings. It might be an attorney that does a lot of their work out of their home offices. A lot of contractors work out of their home. Technically, so we want this to make sure that everybody who's doing this, there's no negative effect. They don't have to get a permit or anything. They just keep doing the business as they do. There's a second level where is that if they say there's a sign or there is something along those lines, is that, well, then there's another level which they just get a permit from the Area Plan Commission. Now, the third tier is where a business has a greater potential to negatively affect the residential use in the neighborhood. That's when they then have to go before the zoning board. And then it also differentiates between in town and then out in the county. Because something that might be appropriate on a larger property out in the county might not be appropriate in a neighborhood in the city of Connersville. For example, there's been, in my time with the zoning board, there's been, auto repair businesses that have been approved as home-based business. But these are on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 acre parcels. Now, auto repair business, say in a residential business, say down on Grand Avenue, Virginia, Iowa, well, might not be a very good idea for it. So that was the way we looked at it. And so it's, like I said, it's try to reflect changes in the economy is really what a big part of it was, is to and minimize the number of things that you actually say no to. So there's a few things that are actually prohibited uses in there. but not very many, because you really want to try to minimize those. And so it does grant the Board of Zoning Appeals discretion, and which is, you really kind of want some discretion to identify why there's a problem, why there is not a problem in making that decision. Because otherwise, if you don't allow discretion, then for, instead of rules like this, you need rules like that, because you can't anticipate every single possible situation. So, I mean, Brian, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I'll add.
Okay, if you have something to add to it, it's because Brian's been a great help to me with this also.
So really, COVID is really the reason for the change. So under the old rules, the way it reads, you can't have a work from home scenario without a special exception. And I know many people who are currently working from home in Fayette County are working hybrid. And technically, you're not allowed to, as of right now, without a special exception. So this kind of eliminates that while still allowing home occupations that are a little more intrusive, and then keeping the special exception for something that would be a more intense use, I think is the phrase, right? More intense use.
More intense use.
Is the phrasing. So the Board of Zoning Appeals doesn't lose that ability, but if you want to work from home, we want to encourage people to work from home in Fayette County.
Because over the years since I've been here, there have been times where the Board of Zoning Appeals has said no because of just the potential to disrupt neighborhood uses. And that's what we're really trying to protect with this. I don't know if any board members have any questions or anything.
Real quick.
Okay, I knew you were going to have one.
Real quick. And really it's more about, I know in past meetings I've seen where the barbershop thing comes to mind.
Yeah.
How does it affect people that are already in business? How do we go about notifying them? How do we go about getting them in line if they're out of line with this?
Okay. Well, typically what you would do is that you would identify people that, okay, so it's that we need you to come into compliance. That's it. This is all you really got to do with it. And really, I'm glad you said something about the barber shops, because in my time here, we've probably had more home occupations that have been for beauty salons than anything else. And those right there, now a beauty salon right there, or so those would have been, because of the potential, those would still require going before the zoning board. And, I mean, we didn't build anything into this for those. This typically is but we can then, yes. I mean, if we become aware of something that's like, look, this is all you really need to do to make it legal. Another one is, another underlying theme behind as we're working on this is we didn't want people to continue to do something as under the surface. So we want to legitimize what's there that should be legitimized, which is a big part of it.
Well, I think there's a need for it, because when you're mandated to stay home and work from home, and we're telling them that they can't work from home.
And it has significantly changed, I mean, the work picture, period.
Yes.
Even with at least your Twitter now, and everybody, your boss tells you got to go in. But it really has changed a lot of things. I mean, even before that, it's just really increased the rate of needing to do something like this. I mean, sorry I couldn't answer your question better.
It's all good.
Okay, that's as long as we're there.
We're good.
Okay. And anybody else, any questions?
Questions? No? If not, entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 3853 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a motion for third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, great, wonderful, thank you very much. And if you just let me know when a copy of the signed ordinance is ready for me for my records, that'd be great. Or you can email it to me.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We can take D, E, and F together as pending ordinance 3854, 3855, and 3856. This is the street, garage, sanitation, park department, EMS, and solid waste transfer station. Their original contract was a 1.5% increase. EMS was a little bit different, but when we did the 3%, we made it across the board. And so really, this is bringing the contract up to the raise that we did through the budget hearing process. So that's what those are for. So we changed the contract. Any questions on those? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 3854, 55, and 56.
So moved.
Motion is second. All in
Second.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
No.
I have a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
I have a motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
No.
We'll move to third reading next meeting. Item G, requesting permission to advertise for additional appropriation from Riverboat. Rosemary?
Several years ago, on the sidewalk project, we agreed to pay our portion of engineering out of the riverboat, and I just need to advertise for additional appropriations to cover that. And so I'll just, the additional won't be at the next meeting, it'll be at the last meeting in December.
This is just the request for the,
This is just a request for me to advertise.
I have a motion to
Motion.
Motion
second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much for permission to advertise. You didn't let me spit it out.
I struggle myself.
Okay, this is what you're wanting. I've got a request for approval applying for a federal aid grant. We presented this to the Board of Works today. They approved it for council to approve. I'll go back over. I'll start over since you didn't pay attention, Lester. How's that? My first year in office, first thing we did was approach the state and NDOT about Western Avenue, about changing it to a business truck route. I did not want to move State Route 1 off of where the current route is 3rd Street and Park Road because businesses locate there because it is a state route. That's where they want to be. What I was asking the state and NDOT to do was to make Western Avenue a business truck route. So all trucks would go down Western Avenue. I drove a truck my entire life. I've had a CDL since I was 21 years old. I let it expire, so I don't drive them anymore. But the Western Avenue it's a better shot to drive a truck down. It's a lot easier. The problem is the asphalt we poured it is not built enough for all the heavy truck traffic that goes down Park Road. We open it up for locals. Okay. I know that, I don't remember what year they stopped trucks from going down that road. Do you remember, Brad? Yeah, but I don't remember when they did that. We did get approval to change that so local trucks go down it. We still can't make that a truck route, so the heavy trucks go down Park Road still. That road can't handle it. So the only way to do that, the state said that they would allow us to make it a truck route. They would put signs up posting it and fix the street lights. So I don't know the timing issues or what, get them at the time or whatever. Because there's some issues with trucks stopping in front of the fire station, different kind of things. We didn't want that. But then we'd have to be responsible for maintaining it to their standards. Well, maintaining it, snow and stuff, that's not a big deal. It's what about when we go to repair it and fix it? We have to do it to NDOT standards, and that was going to be very, very expensive. So we got a price together, say, if we were to completely redo Western Avenue so we could handle truck traffic, what would that look like? I was estimating at the time about $4 million as a guess. I kind of measured it, did my old math. But we met with the engineering firm because this federal grant came out and we're estimating between $8 and $10 million to do that project. That's a lot of money, and as I presented earlier, we've had a flat budget for 3 years. We couldn't do that. It would be impossible to raise the funds to do that. This grant came out and we only had a couple weeks. I mean, it came out very quickly. I don't know why they did that, but they didn't give us much time. So I said, it's gonna cost us $4,000 to Because you have to have some consultant firms do stuff, engineering firms do stuff in order to make the application. The good thing is that the state and NDOT already knows, so they're the ones gonna be awarding the grant. They already know the problem we're having, what we wanna do. It's a 20% match, so it's a $2 million project. That's still a problem for us at $2 million. But it's a step in the right direction. It'll be a 6-year project before they ever do it. We can apply for this grant, and we can still back out. Because if we don't think we can fund it. But to me, a $2 million fix is better than what I was anticipating as a $4 million and an $8 to $10 million, what they're saying. So that's where I was trying to utilize some of the TIF funds, if we could capture those funds and do projects like that. But to us, it could be a $2 million problem right now. So I did ask for permission to apply for that federal aid grant, which the Board of Works approved, and I want City Council to approve that as well. Does that make sense?
Right now, we got trucks going down Eastern Avenue. Is that part of one?
Yes. That's state route.
Is Eastern Avenue is part of one?
Yes. Yep, that's state, everywhere where the state came through and paved last year, that was their route.
What I'm saying is it seems to make more sense for him down Memorial Drive to the 128, taking on up Western Avenue.
I can't say I disagree with that. I can't control Memorial Drive. I can only control down to 3rd Street, which is where we want to take it. Then they can go whichever direction. But at the same time, it's a $10 million fix. And it would be $2 million for us, and that's a tough one to swallow. So that's why we want to apply for this. If we can find the monies to do that, then we will. We can always back out, which is not good in the state's eyes, but they understand the predicament we're in as well. We've got to be able to fund it.
I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of view of average Joe Blow, rather than having them coming up Eastern Avenue.
I don't disagree with you.
Coming up that into town, I mean, it's terrible.
I drove a truck for many, many years, semis, everything, low boys, dump trucks, you name it, and I don't disagree with it. So, tough turns to make. I always shut traffic down on Central. I didn't care. I took both lanes.
Eastern Avenue, they turn down, what is that street up there they turn down all the time where the pizza place is?
11th Street,
Yeah, well, you know, that's,
to avoid the trestle.
yeah, well, yeah.
Sarcasm
That's
there.
another deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would like to see it, but it's a very expensive proposition to do that. So if we do it, we want to make sure we can maintain it. Because if we took it over and signed up to maintain it, then we're stuck with that bill. I'm trying to find a different creative solution to do that, and I think this is a good one. So that's why I want to apply for that.
So you're actually looking at a way to do it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Just costs money.
I think that's a good idea. But something's gotta give.
Can we count on your $4?
That's what.
We're gonna get it done.
I'm trying to do it without doing anything like that.
Well, see, I will tell you, I will be here. Well, maybe I'll be here, I don't know. I'm 74, I may not be here.
I'll see you in December. You got that meeting with me in December. Any questions from council on that federal aid grant application? I mean,
How much is this gonna cost us?
$4,000.
4,000.
So that's because we cannot apply for that ourselves. Either way we go, we still have to have an engineering firm do it. So Joe's working with them. I mean, it's not just us, but Julie's working with them as well. There's a lot of information that's got to be put together for that application.
And pretty quick.
And very quick, that's the other problem. On one hand, that's Butler's, Fairman's, that's their roads are what they're really good at, so.
This may be before your time. Did you remember when they were talking about bringing a road up on the other side of the railroad track?
I
Past
do,
50 on?
yes, I do actually remember that. Yep, that was all, not quite before me, but before me.
A long time ago.
Yes. Any questions from council on that? If not, I'd like to ask for permission to apply for the federal aid grant.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Item I, approval pending ordinance 3857 to 3860. Rosemary.
Pending ordinance 3857 is a transfer within the Parks Department, moving $1,000 from superintendent into insurance, moving $3,000 from,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
and moving $3,000 from superintendent to gas, oil, and lubricant. Sorry. Pending ordinance 3858 is a transfer within the Airport Department, moving $500 from professional services to garage and motor supplies. Pending ordinance 3859 is the ordinance to transfer within the MVH Department, moving $15,000 from other materials to garage and motor supplies. Pending ordinance 3860 is a transfer within the landfill, moving $3,000 from other contractual service trash to gasoline, moving $300 from other contractual trash to overtime, and moving $4,500 from other contractual trash to part-time.
Any questions for Rosemary? If not, I'll take a motion to approve pending ordinances 3857 to 3860. Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. And do I have a motion for a third and final reading?
Motion.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to department reports. Come on, Mr. Stevens.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of October, we had $7,068.93 in overtime, $1,864.89 was FLSA, and $5,204.04 was manpower shortage. That number's down last month and will continue to go down. We're back to basically full strength. Everybody's back from their medical leaves, and all of our guys the new guys are trained and they're counted as men now, so we're back up to par. So, fuel usage for the month of October, we used 350.44 gallons. That's a total of $1,762.43. Month of October, we had 150 incidents. 84% of those were EMS and 16% were fire. Moving on, let's see, 1,649 incidents so far this year as of October 31st. That's where we stand so far. Training for the month of October, a little bit down on the hours. We did hose testing all the month of October. We usually do that every year. We test all the hose that we have on the department, make sure everything's up to par on that. So, one more, and we had 13 total inspections for the month of October. Do I have any questions?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Director Coulter.
I'm going to be very brief. I think I used my word quota up already today. I do want to tell you, though, at the street department, if you have any limbs or leaves, be getting those down to the compost site, because we'll be closing that for a while this winter to work on grinding and maintenance down there, and probably open a couple more weeks. So we'll probably open up a little bit at Christmas tree time, and if we have any big wind events or something, we'll open. Otherwise, we're going to close for a while. Same way with leaf pickup. We'll probably be the rest of this week, all next week, and then maybe we'll be spot checking for a week after that. So get your leaves all out, because that's about ready to wrap up. Main reason we have to quit with that, we have to get all the plow trucks ready, and we need to unhook the leaf machines. So that's the main things I wanted to tell you about. I can answer any questions if you have on the utility report or the transfer report.
When are you gonna close the transfer station?
Did I say transfer? I meant to say compost.
I'm sorry, compost.
Probably a couple more weeks
And a
when we
couple
get done
more?
picking leaves and everything out. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Chief Quillos.
Good evening. All right, so earlier I gave some life-saving commendation to an officer of ours and also one of our local dispatchers. I know you guys have the copy of the letter that I submitted. However, I'd like to read it for the rest of the people who don't have it. On November 6th, approximately 4 a.m., Lieutenant Kevin Perry responded to the 100 block of Fish Street in reference to an unknown situation regarding the dispatch hearing a gunshot outside of the building. Upon arrival, Lieutenant Perry located a male subject who had suffered a gunshot wound to the neck, and without hesitation, Lieutenant Perry provided medical aid and bleeding control to the victim. Due to the significant amount of blood loss and severity of the injury to the victim, it was determined to fly the victim to a trauma center. It is my belief that without the quick intervention and aid rendered by Lieutenant Perry, the victim, Mr. Wilson, would have sustained more significant damage or even succumbed to his injuries. Lieutenant Perry applied knowledge and training in life-saving first aid. They were offered a plaque and also the life-saving pin that he can display. Also, on top of that, it was one of our dispatchers working that evening, and it was a very busy evening that night. We were previously out a total of 12 straight hours on just one incident when this call came in. So one of our dispatchers overheard it, checked our camera systems, and noticed a commotion out front. And prior to any 911 calls, she dispatched our guys out to that, and we were there, within minutes. So I offered her also one of our letters of life-saving commendations. So
Excellent work.
Excellent work. That's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm pretty proud, and I made mention this several times, of our emergency services, not just the police. I mean, we train hard, and we're out and about and mobile. So we like to be as prepared as possible to be able to get to any situation. Since we are the most mobile, our guys are stepping up to the plate. So pretty proud of them. Okay, so everybody has a copy of our October's monthly reports. Our overtime is starting to go down a bit. Not that we have all our guys back, that we still got guys out, but we have our part-time officers working some shifts, picking up some of those, so on some scheduled overtime, so that number is down. Our gallons of fuel is at 1,653 for the month of October. As far as our training, both our K-9s did their recert last month, and they both passed, so we're certified K-9 unit again for another year. Our department is also making sure that we are finishing up on our yearly mandated topics, and we should have those completed. On December 16th, I'm excited that our 3 guys from the academy would be back, and that's on a Friday, so they'll be back to work Monday and get them familiarized with the department again, and off we go. I'm excited about that. We do have our last officer leaving the first week of January. So, any questions?
Does Nick still have the same phone?
Yeah, we haven't changed it at all.
Okay, thank you.
I want to remark, I noticed the stop signs on 18th and Western with the lights around the stop signs. I don't know how long they've been there, but
They just put them up today.
I was going to say, I noticed them today. I didn't notice them.
They're putting solar
Yeah,
around them and
right.
lighting up the stop lights. And I thought maybe it was something to do with the truck route maybe going down Western now, but then I came to find out that's not the case.
No, somebody ran into one of the signs and
Right.
Light pole.
light poles, and so when we worked with that insurance company to replace them with the solar. Diana Wright did most of that work to get that done.
They are very visible
Very.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's,
I asked her.
yeah,
People blessed away.
that's great, yeah.
I got a question. What about the 2 murders in town? Are they still under investigation?
Absolutely. Yep, they're not done. We just have nothing else to provide at this time.
So we ain't heard nothing about it nowhere. And the lights you were talking about for the stop signs,
Yeah.
what about like they do at Glenwood? Coming into town, the speed signs? And they're effective as heck. That slows traffic down you wouldn't believe.
Temporarily.
Yeah.
They
And they don't
have a
work.
couple of them on Grand Avenue there by the school or whatever, but
Then
yeah.
they start to
Is
go off.
that cost prohibitive to do
Oh,
that?
they're expensive. Very expensive. So, we gotta move on, then we'll go to our public forum.
Okay.
You're jumping the gun on being nice, because I like you. I like you a lot. Director Pazzi.
For the month of October, we had 11 hours, 25 minutes of media production, 15 hours, 43 minutes of original production. I want to let you know that we're back in production as of tomorrow on the Purdue Extension Kitchen, which is the cooking show. We've got that back up and running, so that will be back on schedule next week. And we'll have a lot of fun with that. And basically what we're doing on that is teaching people how to cook simple meals for their family. For those of you who did not get a chance to watch the girls basketball versus Anderson Saturday night, that is still available. We'll be re-airing that on cable, and of course it's available on our YouTube channel as well. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, you should definitely go do that.
Absolutely.
That was spectacular. And I just got this evening information on Christmas in the Park, which I know you don't have that yet, so if you want to cover that, we can do that. And I know that we've got Winterfest coming up December 2nd and 3rd. So, any other questions? Okay.
I'll
Good
come
job,
in here in a
John.
second.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will come in here in a second. I think I have everything ready.
That'll go to, keep touching it, otherwise it'll go to black.
Okay. Chief Harden.
Good evening. I've got this down to about 45 minutes, so I'll try to get through this as quick as I can. Actually, you should have a copy of my report. I'm not going to go into great depth because I think at a certain point in time your brain can only absorb so much. So we did have 342 calls for service. So this year we're at 3186 so far for this year as of October 31st. You have my staffing report, my fuel usage, special event coverage. I did have an increase this year in our other contractual services, and that's because we started a service plan with Stryker to come in and service our stair chairs and our cots on a yearly basis. We had never done that before. We'd always just kind of called them when we had problems, and it racks up a lot of money when the problems get to that extent. They came in, they went through everything that we have that lifts the patient. They found a lot of little things. They're like, well, if this bearing would have went out, this would have done this. All that's covered under the agreement. So I'm really glad that we have that in place, preventative maintenance, and it's preventing us from having downtime or having costly repairs. And the repairs that they make along those lines are covered under the agreement. So I was very pleased that we got that done. The other thing at the bottom is Medicare has announced that for 2023, they did the ambulance inflation factor increase of 8.7%, largest increase since 2009. The caveat to that is we're still waiting on the legislature, federal, to continue the 3% rural add-on supplement that we get because of our location. So if they don't end up passing that, it'll end up being a 5.7%. It always comes right down to the wire, and they always pass it, so let's hope that's what happens this time. The next, I'm not quite sure what order you guys get things. My call statistic report looks a little bit different. Instead of doing it manually by hand now, I have access to the Spillman system, which is the dispatch records management system, and I can go in there and say, this is what I want, and it spits it out to me. There is a prettier version. I just haven't figured out how to I found it once. I haven't figured out how to get back to it, so I'm still working on that. And the other two things I'll point out is the two Facebook screenshots that you should have. The lighter colored of the two is in regards to the call that Chief Bolos was talking about earlier. We call in the helicopters when it's the worst of the worst. It's the bad. They don't go on run-of-the-mill stuff. I personally know this nurse. She's been with the company, like she said, about 3 years. And when she said this was a well put together scene, this was good care, this was you can read everything she put there. That really means a lot because they see the worst. They don't see mediocre. They don't see the good stuff, the cut finger. They deal with the worst of the worst. If they say that, that's a pretty big feather in your cap. So that has been passed along to our crews as well. Like I said at the Board of Works meeting, so much of our stuff we do, I really can't say. We have to protect everyone's, information the best we can. But once you put it on Facebook and you make it a public forum, I can share it. So the darker colored one is something that a parent had written about our response and about a couple of our people. So I just wanted to pass that along for anyone who hadn't seen it or is not on Facebook.
Great job.
Very good job.
Great job.
All right. You hear the complaints and you see how much money gets spent. That's the reason we spend the money right there. So there's just no two ways about it. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Parks, I guess you're going to get me doing that today. So tomorrow begins the process of interviews. We have 24 applications, which I was kind of shocked by. I think that's a great response to it, but it also causes me a lot of work because now I have 24 interviews to sit through. So all day tomorrow, every half hour, nonstop, we will do interviews, and I will finish them up Wednesday. We will narrow that, I will personally narrow that down to the top 5, and then I'm going to pull 2 people in from the park board. I don't need to do that because it is an appointment of mine, but I want park board buy-in so they can understand the direction and where I want to go, and so they have buy-in in that as we move forward. So they're going to help me identify persons for a good park superintendent. So that is a process that I would like to have done quickly, but I'm also not going to do it quickly. So it'll probably be either towards the end of December or the first year before I get that done. Just because there's a lot we're trying to do and I don't want to dump it all on someone. If you haven't been seeing any Christmas lights going up, we got there and I was talking with the crews, and the Christmas lights are just your standard household Christmas lights. A lot of them just weren't working and different things, but I have a lot of concern putting electrical stuff outside that's not protected from the weather. That's not a good mix. Ooh, I about lost your phone. It turned black on me. So Rosemary worked really hard and was able to find some money to get some commercial grade lights. We also couldn't get clips. There must be a Christmas light clip shortage like everything else. I had no idea, but he was able to find some, so they will be ordered. So when the lights get here, they will start putting them up, but I did not want to put anything up outdoors that I just felt I wasn't confident with the safety, especially with what we're getting ready to do next with Christmas in the park. That is December 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Miller Building. We're going to have live reindeer, carriage rides, photos with Santa, and John's going to live stream that. Instead of doing the call-in with Santa, we're going to live stream that. We're going to have family resources, snacks, and hot chocolate will be provided. So come on out. That's December 8th from 5 to 8. I encourage anyone here if you want to come out and to help. I got a feeling we have a lot of kids to have fun with, so come out and have some fun. And all that is sponsored by Hedro. They wrote a check to take care of all that, and I want to thank them for that. But that's going to be a good time in the park, so come on out. And I think that's all I have for the parks. I'm going to move down to old business. I do want to go over one thing. I know, Clarence, last time you brought up the issue of a potential Knox box at City Hall for dispatch there. And when Clint and I was walking around, and you go in the police entrance, it's open 24/7, it never gets locked. There's a code box there. And they did that when they put the keys in so that we have access. So I've given Clint the code, so if there's ever an issue, the power goes out, they can get right in. So EMS has access to the building 24/7. So
Okay, I'll
that
pass
is
that
taken
on.
care of. Is there any other old business? Miscellaneous business. Does anybody have anything? Because I got several. I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's been a long night, but if anyone, do you have anything?
No,
Okay, you looked at me. I thought you were going to say something, so
I was waiting on you to go.
thank you.
Next one's getting off.
Okay, first thing I want to talk about is Winterfest. Friday and Saturday, December 2nd and 3rd, from 5 to 8 p.m. right downtown. You can see they've got the winter patio already set up, right where Market Street Plaza is going to go. They got fire pits out there. They're going to have lights. There's food trucks. But December 2nd and 3rd, from 5 to 8, we're going to have the Winter Sky. They're installing that right now, which will be in the Court Street Alley. We're going to have reindeer games on the courthouse lawn. We're going to have live music, a winter window display and competition. Did I say something? Oh, you're looking like I said something? Okay. I know I've talked a lot tonight. We're going to have Santa and Mrs. Claus here. We're going to have a live reindeer farm here. The winter patio, which I've already talked about. We got food trucks coming in that day. We got carriage rides from the historic Connersville Canal House, antique and craft fair. Downtown open houses, the Canal House and Museum, Whitewater Valley Arts Association, the Railroad Depot, local shops and restaurants. And I believe they're going to have all the windows lit up from the churches and stuff with the stained glass. So that'll be beautiful, all lit up, and drive around and see that. We have candy canes and cocoa from the Fayette County Community Foundation. That'll be Friday only. And then we'll have a luminary displayed on Central Avenue. So
Did you mention the pop-up shops?
no, but that's part of it. There are pop-up shops. You can see the windows are nice and decorated. The Johns Brothers, there's other different pop-up shops in there. But I tell you one thing that excited me more than anything was those windows have been empty since I can remember. It's nice to see a display in there, and it looks really, really nice. So just starting to build on that encouragement, that excitement to start making some changes in our downtown. So that's Winterfest, and I encourage everyone to come out and take part of that. Earlier today, the Board of Works approved a contract. We received a grant to paint City Hall from the UEA. When we were doing the sidewalk project, I went out there and I was out there every day watching them, and they marked the lines where the sidewalks are going. I go, you have that on top of the shutters and the pilasters on the door, entry door. And I'm like, yeah, that's where the concrete goes. I go, well, you're not going to take the shutters off? They go, it's not part of our contract. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So we went out there, and I worked with them, and street department, whoever, I don't remember who did, I know I was out there, and we took them off. Well, the pilasters on the door were foam, and they broke. There was no getting them off. They were screwed down, it was all rusted, and you tried to do anything, they just broke. And the shutters were about junk anyway. Actually, there's a pair of shutters over on Rosemary's side left that we're going to replace. So I did some research, and we worked really hard on finding pilasters that go from the top of the decoration, so every window has a real nice intricate top decoration, and the doors, pilasters that go all the way down that are wide. They look really, really nice. And then we're going to paint City Hall kind of light gray. We're leaving the murals, we're not covering them. But the UEA awarded us a grant for $15,000 to get City Hall painted. We're going to fix a lot of the wood, and there's a couple spots where bricks that need to be retucked. I think that's the term they're going to use. But if you, on the white decorative trim, which is dirty and needs pressure wash, thank goodness we got a pressure washer now, the wood's rotten. So they're going to replace that wood and get it so it's all nice, clean white paint. The brick's going to be painted. So it's a step to show our downtown is, hey, we're trying to get people to improve your building downtown. Here's a great resource with the UEA. Let's start getting some buildings taken care of downtown so we can start cleaning up our downtown. The color scheme came to me when I was driving down to Madison. I am not a color guy, so Rosemary knows. If I'm doing anything with color, I'm going to her office and getting all the ladies going, hey, what do I do here? Because I don't color coordinate very well. When I was down in Madison, I drove by a building, it looked very similar to ours, and they had the pilasters in the gray and the white. I thought, man, that just pops. It looks so nice. So that's really where the idea came from the pilasters and the color scheme. And I did take it to the Historic Preservation Committee, and they approved the colors, gave their thumbs up on it. It's not a historic building, but we want to maintain that theme as we start doing all of our buildings downtown, that they approve the colors, so we're not doing something oddball and outside of that. So I do want to thank the UEA for that. That probably won't happen this year, probably next year because it's so cold. They don't think they can paint it. But I do want to get the pilasters up. That is a goal. On December 6th at 8:30 in my meeting room, in my office, there will be a pre-bid meeting for Market Street Plaza. I really wanted this sooner, but I'm trying to be nice, but engineers are driving me crazy. We were having some issues and working through engineers, and it's just a long mess. But anyway, we're going to start the pre-construction bid on December 6th. If you are a local contractor and you want any piece of the puzzle, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, it can be a piece of it. That's why we're doing this. Typical government projects, the local people are usually excluded from because they can't do the bonding. It's very restrictive, and it drives me crazy. Here we are trying to do a project to invest in our community, and the local people can't benefit from it, the local contractors. So when I first came in office, that's why we approved the BOT model through City Council, and this is going to be a BOT model. Now, most BOT models are for financing. State legislator has approved it, so we are not financing this. It will be it's technically financing at 0%, and it's 2 payments. So we're paying for it, Redevelopment Commission is paying for that, and we got the ready grant for this. But we can also localize local contractors. That was my stipulation with Ready. When they're talking about all the different projects and the bonding, I go, if I cannot use the BOT model on this and use local contractors, I am not interested in the money. Because I want local people to benefit from this. And they gave their thumbs up, and that's exactly what we're doing. So if you want to do anywhere from earthwork to pipe laying to concrete to electrical, we need a mason to do some of the block work. The structure itself is going to be made out of wood and steel, but it's not necessarily carpentry because it's a jigsaw puzzle. You're just putting it together. So there will be some carpentry work, but it's mainly a jigsaw puzzle. So all you're doing is looking at a blueprint, and it tells you exactly how to put it all together. So we did that to speed up the process, and we saved some money on engineering, because if we had to engineer the structure, it's very expensive. So there's prefab units out there. They got the pre-engineering done, and it speeds up the entire process and makes it a little bit cheaper on us. So if you want any piece of that, please come to that meeting at December 6th at 8:30. If you want a piece of it and you can't come, please call my office. We will work it out, because if we can't get the local participation, that's when we will go outside to get outside contractors. But local participation first. That's been a goal of mine from day one, and the BOT model is really the only way we can do that. So if you want to participate in that, either come or call the office, and we'll have everything ready for you. I do want to give Nick some kudos. He came to me a while back. We got several areas of the city that are just very difficult to maintain, just because of the slopes, the hillsides, and even when you do weed eat them, it just looks bad. There's some other areas. There's one area in particular that's a private residence that has Johnson grass. It's on a hillside, and it's just hard to maintain. And so he came to me and asked if he could research a wildflower project that's also a pollinator project. So he partnered with the Fayette County Soil and Water, and they identified these areas. They worked with the homeowners, and so some of these areas are going to get a wildflower program that blooms from spring all through fall. So it's going to look beautiful year-round. The other advantage is these wildflowers chokes out the weeds, so you don't have the weed problem. And pollinators, I'm big on pollinators. We need more pollinators in our world today. So he got a grant for that from the foundation. He worked with Fayette County Soil and Water to do that. You'll see these going in next spring. I just want to congratulate him for that, because he took a project on his own and he got it done. And I love that when an employee sees a vision, or sees a problem, sees a vision, and finds a solution for that, and partners with people from the community to do that. Thumbs up to Nick for that. So he's doing a great job, and I just want to thank him for the work he's done on that. And next spring when we get busy doing it, so it'll be nice to see some of those areas with nice wildflowers and pollinators. We had a training grant awarded for the city and for one business in particular in our community from Eastern Indiana Works. The other business partnered with Ivy Tech to get the grant, and they're going to do a lot of professional development training. And the city applied for it for EMS, so we can do some training for our paramedics. The good thing with that is we've got a great grant. The sad thing with that is Eastern Indiana Works offers this all the time, and no one participates in it. And I really don't understand why. So we've really partnered with Eastern Indiana Works as from a city standpoint to try to promote what they do to help our businesses and get their information out there. And these are stuff that this is what they do. They work with our businesses, they connect with employees, and they provide grants to help do that. And for some reason, no one ever applies for it. So we're getting the information out to all of our businesses. We're trying to build those partnerships so they can take advantage of that. And kudos to the first business to really do that, and for Clint for diving into that world as well. So that's going to be some cost savings for the city and a good way to get training out for our paramedics. So if you're a business and you want to learn more about that, for what Eastern Indiana Works has to offer, just call me, shoot me an email, and I'll put you in contact with Eastern Indiana Works. They've helped us in multiple areas, I can tell you that. So we're working on several projects with them, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. The last thing, and I'll stop, we've had a very busy month this month. The Redevelopment Commission, and this has nothing to do with the ordinance that Bill just presented. He didn't even know we did this. We applied for Make My Move. We got a grant from the IEDC and the Lilly Foundation to participate in Make My Move. And what that is it's a marketing platform that promotes to professional people who can work from home, basically. They're remote workers. And it highlights our community, and it pays them to literally move here. Now, there's stipulations with that, but we did a 10-person or 10-family, I don't know how you want to call it, move to get 10 people to relocate from wherever to Connersville. And the good thing with that is we can see kids, we can see everything. So every student, Brian was in the Redevelopment Commission when Mr. Beard told us that was at $6,500. So every time we bring a student to Connersville, that's $6,500 for a school corporation. So we have 10-person move. If they each have one kid, that's $65,000 that helps our schools out. So we are really excited for this. It's going to be developed. We literally just signed the documents. I signed them late Friday night. It was a long day. We got that done. So Redevelopment Commission is funding the match portion of that, but the large majority is coming from the IEDC and the Lilly grant, and that's just it's a great program. There's been several measures of movement. I know Greensburg did it last year. They did a 5-person move, and they're doing 10 or 15 this year. Is it 10? Several communities have used it, and it's been very successful. So we're going to participate in that, and I'm excited to see what comes of that. So I'm glad to see that done, because we're promoting remote workers to come in here, and it's not just a person moving. They usually bring a spouse with them with another professional degree or whatever. So there's more opportunity for jobs. When I was talking earlier about population decline, we're trying to do things to increase our population. That's one step in the right direction. Secondly, it's going to be a great marketing piece that we can use everywhere, not just for those 10 people, but we can now take that and just share it everywhere. Richmond actually just did that. They just finished their video last week, maybe, week before. Phenomenal video. So they come in, professional video quality. I mean, it's top notch. So we're excited about that. Okay. I have more, but I think I will stop because it's a lot of information. Said we've been doing a lot, so any other miscellaneous business? I'll make everybody quiet. All right, anyone from the public have anything to say? Yes, ma'am.
Real fast.
Name and address, please.
All right. Viv Heimlich, 7597 West 800 North in Connersville, up in the Bentonville area. First of all, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. You're all friends of mine. And I also came to remind everybody about Friday and Saturday, and then you went ahead and took my thunder away.
Sorry.
Canal House, I'm on the board of the museum, and we're going to have Canal House open. Donna Shorter will be there, so you want to learn anything about history. It's free to come through the Canal House. Many, many people have been into my shop down the street here and told me that I've never been to the museum, I've never been to Canal House, and they've been residents here for many, many years. So we want you all to go to the Canal House and visit Donna and ask her any questions. She'll probably be able to answer most of them. And then on Saturday, we're going to have the museum open. So the museum will be open till 4 o'clock. So I believe it opens at 10 to 4, but we will be there as well. And
This Saturday and...
it'll be the following.
Okay, for the Winterfest.
The Winterfest. This is for Winterfest, yeah. So it's the following weekend, and Chad already mentioned it, so, but I wanted to make sure it got on the air. Okay, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, and congratulations on your election win, too.
Well, thank you very much. I highly anticipate working well with the city. I think that's been needed for
I
many
like to
years.
banter, though, so you're gonna have to learn to banter with me.
Okay. I don't know, I'm just too cutthroat.
I know.
See ya.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous business? Oh, I'm sorry, public forum. Anyone else want to make a public? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Have a motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.
You guys...